How's everybody doing today on YouTube, Facebook, whatever I decide to post this to? Welcome to Little Southern Garage up here in northern Maine. Why is it called Little Southern? Because I'm not from Maine. So today what we got working on is an '06 Ford Fusion. What it is the AC compressor is locked up, so I figured I'd kind of walk you through how to get it. There's a couple of ways to do it. You can do it from the bottom, from the top. In order to get to it, you end up playing around with both. So I'm gonna just do the best I can to walk you through it. Let's show you the car. Like I said, it's an '06 Ford Fusion. It's got the 4-cylinder, the 2.3. What you see down here is you got power steering pump, you got water pump, I believe, yes. And then right below that in that bottom corner, that's the AC compressor. What it is it's completely seized. If you see the front of it, the clutch for the compressor is actually gone too. So more than likely salt got down in the bearing inside that pulley and ate it the rest of the way. So it no longer spins. What had happened was the belt, of course with the pulley not spinning like it's supposed to, the belt just split apart, fell apart. No longer with the car. So first things first, if you're going to go from the top, easiest thing to do is you're going to take the bolts off of this power steering pump so you can scoot it to the side the best you can, because it's from the top it's kind of hard to get to. Bottom you're not much luck either, so you kind of have to go from both ways to get to it. I would start first. I'll always recommend safety just to make sure you don't short anything out accidentally, because Murphy's Law, anything that can happen will happen. So go ahead and you want to disconnect the positive off the battery. Then you're going to jack the car up just so you can get this wheel off, because you have to get inside the wheel housing right here. Jack it up. Got a jack stand, of course, for safety. And then I don't have to walk back there and show you, but the back wheels, you want to go ahead and chuck at least one of them so the car doesn't roll away somehow. There's a couple of ways to get this compressor. I decided to go with a used model for this one, just because new one's like 500 bucks. If you choose to go the all-new route, I recommend while everything's apart. Chances are if it got to this point, everything else needs to be replaced at that time too. You want to do the compressor. You're going to have the seals for your lines. You're going to have a dryer. And where's the other one? Should have an orifice tube depending on the car. I'd have to double check on this one. But all those need to be replaced. Just because the dryer is there to take away moisture. Orifice tubes to help convert everything back from vapor to moisture. You just want to replace them both when you take everything apart, just because the dryer will soak up moisture from open air, and then orifice tube can get clogged, dirty. So while you got it apart, that's the best time to change it. If you look, this is what the clutches or the compressor is supposed to look like. If you see, there's the clutch for the compressor attached, thread and everything. And you see that one spins like it's supposed to. The other one, this pulley does not spin whatsoever. Here we go. This is the point where you get the power steering pump off. You can got it wedged in here now. You got, watch it back out. Okay. You're going to have this bolt right here. It won't come all the way out because of this pressure line. You don't need it to come out all the way. It comes out, pull it back to the pressure line. It's out of the way, you can pull it out. Then you got a hole here. And you got two on bottom. The two on the bottom of the power steering pump's the hardest to get to if you're coming from the top. Works if you got small arms. You can fit right here, one of the AC lines. You take this little bolt out, it's like an 8mm. That gives you a little extra room because you can gently bend this out of the way so you can squeeze down into this hole and you can get underneath the power steering pump that way. It sucks because there's not a whole lot of room. But if you go on from the top, like I'm doing, that's probably the best way to get to those bottom two bolts. The point of getting this out of the way from here, hold on a second, let me set this down. Got to wedge this power steering pump back out of the way. Okay. The purpose of doing that, get this one shine down in here. Hard to see it, but the top bolt to the AC compressor it's like right underneath this hose. But that's going to be the top one. Then you're going to have two bolts on the bottom, which you have to go to the bottom to get to. Having this power steering pump out of the way also helps you maneuver because it's a lot of wiggle room to get this pump out. Okay. I've got everything kind of loosened up, so all I got to do is take one bolt off to get the compressor loose. Then I got to fight and wiggle it on out of here. What you want to do, I forgot to mention, I don't know how I'm going to edit it together, but in case it edited funny. I forgot to mention that you got to take the AC compressor lines off. Before you do this, while I'm thinking about it, make sure you have the lines drained. You do not want pressure on that. I made the mistake when I first started doing stuff like this to just yank that on off of there. You do that once, and that's all it takes because it's pressure behind it. It'll explode in your face, and you'll go home green that day, or whatever dies in the Freon or whatever. It's not fun, not cool, and most states, if not all, it's illegal to just open it up in the atmosphere. So I recommend you get it drained at a store, or not a store, at a garage or somebody that has the capability of doing that properly. But anything on that point's all on you, not me. So yeah, you're gonna want to take that off. The reason you need to take this off first is to get my hands in the way. There's a lot, not a whole lot of room. You can kind of see it at the end of my finger. That's the top bolt for this compressor. There's one bolt here. That's a, what did I use? It's either 13 or 14. 13, top and bottom. Or for the 3 bolts that hold the compressor on, it's a 13. The bolt that holds the AC lines on, that's a 10 mil. And then, let me show you the bottom. Where's my light? Let's see if you can see up in here. Where is it? Oh, over to the side. You can see at the 2 ends of the rectangle cast pieces. That's where the bolts go on the end of it. They're, I don't know, like 6 inches long, something along those lines. They go in. They're both 14 millimeter. On the 06, you have the flap for the oil filter. You can just move it. You can get in there, and the light ran away. You can get in there and you can get to it that way. Like I said, 14 millimeter. It helps tremendously to have a adjustable ratchet like this. You can adjust the head to whatever angle you need. If not, the radiator support's in the way. So got the compressor out. Best way, if you're coming from top, is you're going to take this lower radiator hose off. You're going to take the radiator hose off right here. That's going to open all this up right here. Because when you come up, the compressor is just too wide. You're going to be fighting the brackets right here, the cast for the brackets on both sides. Oh, that's the new one. Hold on. Switch. Okay. You're going to be fighting the cast for the brackets on both sides. If you come up, you're going to be fighting the connector right here. You don't want to break it. This is the old one. When it was put back on, the connector was just cut off because obviously there's nothing to activate anymore, or no clutch to even work anymore. And if you can see, that's seized up. It was done. You can hear the bearings in it. It's done. Also coming up, you tend to fight this a little bit, the flange for your AC lines. So taking that hose out of the way just gives you that extra room. And you want to be careful because the thermostat on these are one-piece thermostats, and they're plastic. Plastic breaks all the time. So be extra careful with that. But yeah, you can do it from the top. The other way, you can unbolt the motor mounts, pick the motor up a little bit, and you can probably slide it out the bottom. And I don't, if you get it up high enough, you might can come out the side. Right here, you probably can take, slide down, probably take this off, just enough to get over here. But you might can come this way if you get the motor up high enough. I chose this route. Why? Because I was already there. I don't like laying on the ground, so that's how I did that one. Okay, so got everything back together as far as the compressor is concerned. This one appears to be a different year than this car. I had to cut the plastic around here, and it looks like it fits. After that, I'll double check wiring before I'm like, hey, let's start it and run it. But it should be correct. If not, then I'll just pull it off, put some blade connectors on it, run it. But factory, these are pinch clamps, or these devil-made objects. Pinch them together. Hate those things. So when I take them off, I always put, worm gear clamps. While you're down here, you got the pump off. You went through all the trouble to get through these bottom two bolts. You got the pump off. Go ahead and do your thermostat, because these are the one-piece thermostats where the thermostat and the housing's made together. So go ahead and change it. Wouldn't hurt anything. I mean, you're there. If you can't, you can't. But makes life easy. Ain't got to do it again. And then, if you're like me, you're just putting a used one on there just so you got a pulley and whatnot. The AC lines down there, go ahead and get new seals for those hard lines. That way, if a used pump actually works, then at least it'll seal itself off again. And then, that's really it. Oh, the tip to get this compressor in and out. Like I said, you got to pull this radiator hose off. You're going to slide it over in this direction. To keep from pouring fluid from the thermostat, you can stick a rag right in here. It'll help, keep it from draining down so you don't get everything soaking wet. And then, if you happen to have a radiator or a hose clamp or a hose pinch pliers, you can use it on here to keep it from pouring out of the radiator hose too, but it shouldn't be too bad as long as you leave it pointed up. And over here, because you're going to wedge it, and the top of it's going to be pointed up, so it'll keep it from draining out that way. But when the compressor goes in and out from the top like this, you're going to put the pulley, point the pulley down and bring it up backwards. The three brackets where the bolts go in, you want the single bracket towards the front, or towards the motor side, and then you want the double bracket side where the two bolts on the bottom pointed to this side, and that'll allow everything to slide up easier. And going in, you just reverse the process, goes in the same way. It makes life easy. Outside of that, we're back to where we started, outside of bolting the power steering pump on and throwing the belt on. When you put the belt on, since this one didn't have it, I'll go ahead and show you. I have to go tomorrow and get the belt. There's a panel that goes right here. You're gonna take the clamp or the push pins out. There might be a bolt in one of these. And this is your tensioner pulley right here. That's the one you're going to want to change out and make it work again. And then that's really it. If you got that far, you done it yourself. Don't forget, if you pulled that radiator hose off, you're going to have to burp the coolant system, otherwise your car will overheat because of an air pocket, and that's no fun. Something stupid like that'll blow your motor up. So guys, hopefully that helps you out doing a AC compressor on an 06 Ford Fusion. The only real complication I had, I think the salvage yard, they gave me a different year, so it has a different connector for the AC clutch. So, or the compressor clutch, whatever you want to call it. So I think the connector's different, but it's still a two-wire connector, positive, negative, just to send signal in there to activate the clutch. So, like I said, I'll double check the wiring before I get going on that to make sure that is correct the way I put it in there. Since I had to jerry rig it for the best, better words to make it work. Outside of that, everything went the way it's supposed to go. The only trouble I foresee anybody having is fighting that compressor to squeeze it up through there. That's the only real, the biggest pain in the rear to get that out. The only other issue that you'd come across is getting the bottom two bolts off of that power steering pump. Um, Outside of that, though, it's pretty straightforward. Also with the Freon, make sure to get it drained at a shop, or if you got a friend that's got the machines to do it, take it to them. Like I said, it's illegal and a monster fine if you get caught, draining it in your backyard, things like that. So be sure to do it the right thing. Be environmentally friendly. We already do everything else that isn't. Um, so yeah, hope you like it. Hope this helped out somebody. If not, let me know.